What is up, guys? My name is Matt from Magic the Greatening, and today I got kind of a fun budget deck tech for you. It's going to be blue-white Embalm. I wanted to make another budget deck tech for you guys. This one will cost you around $40, and most of it will be because of one card, and that one card is actually going down in price right now because it didn't see any play, or of any play, in the Pro Tour. So that's good because the card is really good in this deck, and really any deck that plays white. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a few moments. I originally had a Bant. I had green in there to throw things in, like some artifact hate. I had things like Grapple the Past, Vessel of Nascency to get stuff into our grave so we can embalm stuff. I also have Honored Hydra, just one of the best embalm cards. But I played with it, and without the good dual lands, it's not very good. You struggle. You struggle with the lands 90% of the time, because that's why you lose. So, and then with the lands, it adds about $30, $40, and all of a sudden it's a $100 deck tech. So, I had to make it just blue-white. Honestly, makes it a little worse. Maybe in the future I can come up with a competitive Embalm deck tech when I run out of ideas. Anyway, let's get right into it. Let's start with the creatures. Let's go to our 1 and 2 drops here. We got 4 copies of Sacred Cat, 3 copies of Temet Vizier of Naktem. I just completely butchered that. We're going to keep going. 4 copies of Labyrinth Guardian. Sacred Cat is a no-brainer. Kind of just needs some early drops, and it's a 1-drop, and it can Embalm, and it's got Lifelink. It's kind of a good 1-drop for us here in this deck, especially a budget one. For Labyrinth Guardian is actually way better than it sounds. I know that there's like a drawback on this card, which is kind of weird, but you know, we do what we do, and a 2/3 is still pretty good, especially for a 2-drop. And then Temet, I was originally playing 4. I'm actually thinking about bringing down a 2. He's not as good as I thought he would be. He's very good in an aggressive type of deck where you have large tokens, but you don't really have super large tokens in this deck. So Temet just seems kind of weird to me. I still do want to play him though, because giving a buff to one of your embalmed guys is still really good. Alright, let's get to some of the later game creatures here. We're going to play 2 copies of Vizier of Many Faces and 3 copies of Aven Windguide. Aven Windguide is just better than Temet in every shape and form. He himself is a 4-mana 2/3 flying vigilance with Embalm, which is kind of lame. But his ability is creature tokens you control have flying and vigilance. And if you guys didn't know, embalmed creatures are white zombie tokens. So all your embalmed things will now have flying and vigilance with this thing out. Pretty good. And Vizier of Many Faces is in here. It's not super competitive card. However, it can be really funny just to copy one of the things they have on their board. Maybe you want another Angel of Sanctions out or something along those lines. Vizier can just copy anything on your board. Alright, let's get to the things that'll actually win us the game, hands down. Let's play 4 copies of Aketra's Attendant and 4 copies of Angel of Sanctions. Angel of Sanctions price has been dipping down a lot recently. It used to be like a $7 card. Now it's about a little less than $5, and it's just continuing to go down. Yesterday it was like $6, today it's $5, you know. So go ahead and pick these up. Maybe you can wait a week or 2 and see how far the price will drop. Anyway, but Angel of Sanctions is by far the best card in this deck. Just exile any non-land permanent they have until this thing leaves the battlefield, and even if they remove it, you just play it for 1 more next turn to remove that thing. They have to waste 2 removal spells on this thing, and that's like with all the creatures in this deck. They have to waste 2 removal spells. This just crushes. This deck is really good against stuff like blue-red control or anything that kind of is hoping that you don't have recursion from your graveyard. And then for Aketra's Attendant is just a 3/3 flyer for 5. However, it does have the ability to cycle, which is very relevant because you can cycle it. You discard this card, but it's not like you're discarding it because you can embalm it for the same price it would cost to hard cast it from your hand. So it's basically its ability is to just pay 2 to draw a card, and this just is like another piece in your hand, although it's in the graveyard. Gotta play the full 4 of this. It's really good early game. Most of the times I just cycle it out to try to get some of my early stuff or dig for some removal. So that's just really good in that card, and I had to play the full 4. On to the spells, or the non-creature spells at least. Let's go to the things that aren't removal. We're going to play 3 copies of Embalmer's Tools and 3 copies of Anointed Procession. Anointed Procession is going up in price, despite Angel of Sanctions going down in price. So when I actually made this deck list a few days ago, the price is actually about the same as it was because the Angel of Sanctions is going down as Anointed is going up. Anyway, if you guys didn't know, like I said earlier in the video, your embalmed creatures are tokens, and they're technically zombie tokens, which will be relevant in the sideboard here. I'll tell you why. But you basically embalm something and you get 2 of that, except for Temet. But everything else you get 2 of. Like you get 2 of Angel of Sanctions, or you get 2 Viziers, or you know, whatever you're embalming, you're going to get 2 of. And then Embalmer's Tools just make everything cost 1 less from the graveyard. So your embalm stuff costs 1 less. So that makes like things like Catcher's Attendant, its embalm cost actually less than the hard cast. A 4-mana 3/3 flyer with cycling 2 is really, really good. And then it makes Angel of Sanctions actually have the same mana cost as it would be casting it from your hand. So Embalmer's Tool I had to play in this, especially since it's budget. And you can tap an untapped zombie you control, and you can have target player put, mill themselves 1. Obviously, you'd want to probably do this to yourself, especially at their end step. You just tap down your entire little zombie token team, and you just put a whole bunch of cards in your graveyard, and you can start embalming stuff again. So that's pretty good. Let's go to the other spells. Let's just get right to it. 3 copies of Cast Out and 3 copies of Negate. Now, Negate is in here against the Aetherworks Marvel deck, which we don't really have any answers other than Angels of Sanctions to do much against. Actually, we have Vizier as well. Copy there, Ulamog. But Negate is kind of in there just if, they're playing like a Gideon, they have Gideon ally of Zendikar, or maybe they're trying to Aetherworks Marvel, or they have kind of a zombie horde. They're trying to play Liliana's Mastery. It can blow you out of the water. You can negate that. Just a whole bunch of reasons to play Negate right now. We kind of needed some type of counterspell removal. So I went with Negate. We have a few more other counterspells in the sideboard. And then Cast Out's kind of a no-brainer. It's like a Stasis Snare, but it's a non-land permanent. It doesn't cost 2 white in the mana cost, and you can cycle it for 1. So I think Cast Out is pretty much a no-brainer in this deck. The lands, we're just going to play 24. I told you this is budget, so the first thing I would upgrade in this deck is definitely the lands, but we're going to just play 10 island, 14 plains. We're playing more white cards than blue, so especially we have a whole bunch of double white cards like Catcher's Attendant and Angel of Sanctions. Sideboard time, we're playing 1 more copy of Cast Out if we need more removal. We're actually playing 2 copies of Failure to Comply. This is like the Reflector Mage, from, if you guys remember that. It's banned now, but this is kind of a same thing. It's not a creature, but it is a spell. This is mostly in there kind of against Aetherworks Marvel. 3 Forsake the Worldlies against, again, Aetherworks Marvel and Mardu vehicles, and sometimes even zombies. Liliana's Mastery is something we want to take out. Maybe they're playing I've seen black-white zombie decks with Scrap Heap Scrounger. This is really good against Scrap Heap Scrounger, so we go ahead and do that. It's also got cycling with 2, which is kind of why we're playing it. And then also in the sideboard, 2 copies of Fumigate. This actually does not hurt us that much, because, we can kill off all our creatures. We're playing 24 creatures, that's a lot. But this kills off all our creatures, it clears the board, but remember your guys have Embalm, so you can Embalm them back. So Fumigate is kind of a no-brainer. We need something. This is kind of in there mostly against zombies, because they get really wide really fast. We're going to play 2 copies of Glyph Keeper against control matchups. We already do pretty well against control matchups, but if we want even more stuff just to piss off removal and control decks, we can put the 2 copies of Glyph Keeper in there. 2 copies of Horribly Awry against zombie decks. This can counter basically things we don't want them keeping on board. Maybe they're trying to play a turn 4, maybe they try to do Diagraph Colossus Dread Wanderer. You can counter one of them. Maybe they keep recurring their Dread Wanderer from the graveyard or their Scrap Heap Scrounger, and you go ahead and just counter that, exile it, don't have to worry about it anymore. horribly awry. It's pretty good for that. And for the final 3 cards in our sidebar, we got 3 Time to Reflect. Now, this is what I was saying when the zombie tokens, when you embalm stuff, would become important. Because this says exile target creature that was blocked or was blocked by a zombie this turn. Takes out stuff like Ulamog. That's basically what it's more against things like zombies in Aetherworks Marvel, which dominated the Pro Tour. I mean, I guess you can do it against a Heart of Kiran. It wouldn't be too bad. Exiling a Heart of Kiran isn't too bad. It's not the best thing. But yeah, 3 Time to Reflect, just in case you are playing a deck that's kind of a more controlled version of maybe a Zombies or a Aetherworks Marvel deck. Or, you know, just give you an extra option to exile stuff for 1 mana. So there you go. That's it for Blue, White, and Embalm, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I try to keep it super budget. Tomorrow, or in 2 days, depending on when I feel like editing the video, I will have a green-blue Simic budget ramp deck that I think is actually pretty good for a budget deck. I think it costs like under 20 bucks. It's like my first deck tech that costs under 20 bucks. So there we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.